right, welcome back. Brand new week. It's 8:07. Here we are on this run. You know, I can hear it. Was it Karen Carpenter? Rainy days and Mondays. Oh, anyway, it is a rainy Monday. It's cold, though. And you feel winter knocking at the door. Meanwhile, the government remains shut down due to Schumer's political prospects in New York State. And if it weren't for that, millions of federal workers would be getting their paychecks. Soldiers would be getting paid. TSA fully funded. No threats whatsoever to airport security, air traffic control systems. But no, it's amazing. I've always been amazed. You know, you look at the American political system and the massive sheer breadth of political power that exists inside about a 2-mile radius of the mall in Washington, D.C. There is an enormous amount of political power there, and it is intoxicating. And if you've had it and you've enjoyed it, and then you're faced with the prospect of losing it, you don't care who you hurt. You don't care who gets not just inconvenienced, but maybe their livelihoods threatened because one person needs to guarantee or at least increase the likelihood that they will be reelected. And that is exactly what we are seeing today. That Chuck Schumer is worried about his race. He's got a threat from the far left. You see the frenzy right now. And if you're thinking, well, yeah, is it really that big a deal? Look at the sycophants that are poised to vote or already have in early voting for Zohran Mamdani. The man is a communist. And a lot of times, you know, if you're going to be a communist in America, you can't really say I'm a communist. There are just things you have to hide, and you have to say your words just right in a way that makes collectivism sellable. He's not even really doing that much. He doesn't hold up a hammer in one hand and a sickle in the other and scream, "I'm a communist." He doesn't do that. However, his ideas are right there, and he is, and you have AOC, and you have Bernie, and you have others that are getting all in. And I want you to hear this. I saw this morning from the clips over the weekend of AOC losing her ever-loving mind at the rally for Zohran Mamdani.
This city was built by the Irish escaping famine, Italians fleeing fascism, Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island, in this country, in a vision to build the freest, toughest, and greatest city on earth.
Okay, so that's AOC, and she thinks hitting her stride there. We also had Bernie.
New York must have a mayor who represents the working families of this city, not the billionaire class.
Okay, they need a mayor that will represent the working class. And then you had Mamdani himself.
Let our words ring out so loud tonight that Andrew Cuomo can hear them in his $8,000 a month apartment. Let them ring so loud that his puppet master in the White House hears us. New York is not for sale.
One is out.
Okay, Mamdani. But you listen to that frenzy. You listen to that energy. That New York, that's the far left energy that Chuck Schumer is being held captive by right now. Schumer is not running for president. He doesn't care what the rest of America thinks. All he knows is that if he moves forward and the government gets reopened, Trump claims victory, Republicans claim victory, and that frothing at the mouth energy that you're hearing there at the Mamdani rally is coming after him to destroy him. He hears that. He sees that. He knows he's a 70-something-year-old guy, and he's potentially running against AOC, who's much younger. She's much more energetic. I think she's probably more fluid, more I wouldn't say intellectually, verbally more nimble than Chuck Schumer is. And he doesn't want to have to run against that. So he is in trouble. I have no doubt that they know that he is in big trouble if he does not satisfy the far left with some red meat. But the problem is they are never fully satisfied. And you can overabundantly satisfy that wing of the party, and it lasts. The shelf life on that satisfaction is about 8 seconds. And then if you disappoint them the next day, you are dead to them. They have no memory. There is no loyalty bank whatsoever with those people. But he has to placate them. He's got to satisfy them. So Mike Johnson doing his what has just become the morning shutdown update from the Capitol. Let's listen in briefly to that.
But unlike Washington Democrats, they don't have the luxury to wait out this shutdown. For many of them, federal contracts have been frozen, SBA loans and support have dried up, and business has dropped off due to uncertainty in the markets. A survey of small business owners across the country found that for the 1 in 5 small business owners who rely on government contracts, this shutdown is forcing them to pull back on their investments. And what are those investments? It's new hires, new jobs, it's supplies and services. They have to pull back on those things so that they can make payroll work, so they can keep their employees employed. One business in Raleigh, North Carolina that relies on federal environmental approval said this, quote, "The backlog that is generated by the shutdown will last long beyond today." Another business in Georgia, Ms. Loeffler's home state, specializes in home repairs, added, quote, "When livelihoods are affected in such a manner, home repairs and projects get delayed if not canceled. A government shutdown is a threat to us all." For American businesses that rely on loans from the SBA, each day means crucial dollars lost, and that affects every American at the end of the day. Small businesses across the country are being forced to go without roughly $170 million in SBA-backed loans each day, and that adds up to $4.5 billion in blocked loans just over the course of this shutdown so far.
All right. Each one of these days has its own flavor. Obviously, he's right behind him is Kelly Loeffler. She's the SBA administrator. And so that is, I guess, the theme. The shutdown brief theme of the day is small businesses were not going to be getting the help, the loans, and the relief that they need in order to operate. And speaking of, here is Oh, they cut away, so I don't have that audio for you. But yeah, I want to play one more clip here related to the shutdown. Over the weekend, Scott Bessent went on, and listen for a minute. This is Kristen Welker from NBC News, and I want you to pay it. The question is whatever, but the tone is what I want you to pay attention to.
Now in the second longest shutdown in U.S. history, when will President Trump meet with Democrats to try to bring this shutdown to a close and get federal workers their paychecks back again, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Kristen, I'm going to have to reject the premise of your question. Why does President Trump have to meet with Democrats? Democrats just need to go into the Senate and vote to end the shutdown.
Let's look at the numbers. President Trump has said in the past it's up to the president. 52, He's the president. No. He said that in the past. He said you have to be a leader. The president has to lead. You have to get people into a room. You have to get a deal. When's he going to do that?
Well, he is leading, and there's no deal to do with Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is trading off his polls. What's different than when he passed a clean CR in the spring? It's his polls. You know, the whole country's being held captive to AOC's polls. Well, let's look at the numbers. It's 52-3. 52 Republicans have voted, I believe it's 11 times, to reopen the government. 3 Democrats have. And right here, right now, I would urge moderate Democratic senators to come across the aisle, reopen the government, because I'll tell you, we're starting to eat into.
Okay, so we're eating into the muscle now, he said. So, but when you listen to her tone, that sort of elevated, shrill, emotional level, that's not a journalist sitting at an anchor desk. That's an activist doing everything they can to try and shepherd the narrative into an anti-Trump strain of thought here, to blame Donald Trump. But here's the truth. They can't. They can't. Because you have the Republicans that have said, keep the paychecks rolling, keep the government open while we negotiate these larger, longer-term issues. They've done their job. They've voted for the CR. You only have one vote. You only have one yes vote. President Trump, he's got his pen. He's ready to sign it once it gets through the Senate. The only holdout is Schumer and the Democrats that he has control over. And, I appreciate Scott Bessent here, but you're not going to have some breakaway Democrats unless they do it with the wink, wink from Chuck Schumer saying, okay, we're getting harmed by this, but go ahead. We've got to get it back open because I believe the Democrat brand is getting hurt from this. What more can you do than a yes vote? And I know you might say to that, well, you need to negotiate. You need to give the Democrats some of what they want. No, you don't. I'm gonna tell you, they're the ones that are on record saying we want a clean CR. Back when Republicans were trying to put some extracurricular things into a CR, you had the Democrats demanding a clean CR so they could keep things going. They are on record advocating voting yes to a clean CR. So you don't have to budge one bit. You're under no obligation whatsoever to make an adjustment for them. And if they choose to keep the government shut down, they do it at their own peril. So you have that. We also had an interesting development over the weekend in the Idaho Falls mayoral debate. I don't know if you've been following this. It blew up a little bit on social media. So this is the East Idaho News mayoral. I don't think it was a debate as much as it was a forum. And let me find this really quick here. I know I had the audio, and I got to find it. Here it is. So this was the question right after Lisa Burtonshaw wrapped up an answer. Nate Eaton, the moderator, he asked this question, and I want you to hear this exchange.
That 5-year vision.
I heard Jeff Aldridge removed his religious affiliation from his website and does not believe Latter-day Saints are Christians. Is this true?
I never had my faith on my website, but I am a Christian, and I'll leave it up to Latter-day Saints. If they believe they're Christian, then they're Christian.
Do you believe they are?
I don't know.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, it's Brad from Now 105.1 and QP99. I'm in the studio here. I love our studios, by the way. Ranger Rick back there. There's Neal and Julie doing their thing. Hey, when you want to advertise on the radio, what do? You call the radio station, right? But what do you do when you want to advertise on Facebook and Instagram and Hulu and Disney Plus and Peacock and the other TV streaming services? You can kind of click around on them and make guesses or read books or take courses online on how to do that advertising. Or you could call us at the radio station. At Sandhill Media, we take care of your local radio and digital marketing. So reach out to us at sandhillmediagroup.com and we'll make sure that your message gets heard and seen wherever your customers are.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how it went. It literally was less than 25 seconds in length there. And as you heard, Nate Eaton was actually reading a question, or at least it was a compilation of questions that came in from viewers and the audience. And we do this as well. In fact, it's one of the reasons why when we have guests, we don't open up the phone lines much anymore, because we have a text line. If people want a question asked, then a lot of times we'll get 3 or 4 texts, and they're all the same flavor. So you meld them into one question. I'm guessing that's what they did here with this story. Well, you obviously heard how it was kind of awkward. And just to understand the dynamics of this, you have Lisa Burtonshaw member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You have Christian Ashcraft, also a member. You have Nate Eaton, the moderator, also a member. And then here's the one guy who's not a member, and a question sort of putting him on the defensive that on your website you had something about your religion, about your faith, and the whether or not they're Christian. Mormons are Christian. So I'm using the abbreviated term. I know that some of you don't like that, but members of the church being Christian. And he's like, I don't, if they say they are, then they are. But I think a lot of people are like, I'm not on the committee. Whatever divine heavenly committee that is that says, you're a Christian, you're not a Christian. You're a Christian, you're not a Christian. I don't know why we've even created the committee. I don't even know why that matters. In the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination, and I've talked about this before, I'll keep saying it again because my faith was slandered in all of this. You had a national pastor who tried to tie the assassination of Charlie Kirk to the fact that the shooter, alleged shooter, grew up a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This quote-unquote national pastor went on to say that it's a demonic cult. And I'm like, wow, that is nothing short of slanderous towards an entire faith and completely untrue and baseless, but whatever. But this particular pastor has a habit or a pattern of doing this very thing where he basically says Mormons are not Christian. So this kind of elevated, it was sort of a subtext to the whole Charlie Kirk assassination stuff and kind of came to this national thing. And I saw multiple arguments about this online about are Mormons Christians? And some people get on thinking their opinion is somehow permeating the universe and equates to reality, would say Mormons are not Christian. And others would say, yes, we are Christian. I insist we're Christian. And this whole time I'm rubbing my forehead and I'm getting a little frustrated here. And I said, they don't have a vote. Do you think Jesus sits up there going, I wonder what Pastor so-and-so thinks about if this person over here is a follower of mine? It's one of the dumbest questions ever. In fact, if you're going to ask me this, and I think we haven't talked with Jeff Aldridge, but I think he would probably also agree with that. He was clearly uncomfortable being pressed on this issue as the lone non-member of the faith that was sitting there. Now, I know Nate Eaton, and I like Nate Eaton. I'm not gonna beat him over the head here. But I will say I have moderated a number of debates in my life. And when I got done, I reflected and said, that probably wasn't my best moment, or I didn't ask that question just right. I feel like people hearing that, I'll ask this question here. And this is why I felt like the question was unnecessary. The follow-up was maybe a little out of bounds. I say that with gentle effect because I do have respect for Nate. But I have never woken up in my entire life, wherever I've lived, wondering or caring if the mayor of the city where I live thinks I'm a Christian or not. It has nothing to do with anything. And I think very inadvertently ended up being a pretty bad look and introducing what I think are pretty toxic dynamics. Now, it's easy to literally Monday morning quarterback situations like this. And I would probably say there may be an appropriate way to ask the question of a mayor who's running not of the predominant faith in the region, to ask them, what will your leadership style be? You'll be the mayor if you're elected of a community whose predominant faith is not your faith. How do you navigate that, knowing that religion is a very big issue in communities? I think a question like that is fine. But it was a moment where it was awkward, and you could tell it was awkward for Jeff. I don't actually think, though, that it hurts him. And because I think people looked at that and thought, why is that question getting asked here? It would be like if you were to let me. It's not quite the same. No analogy is perfect here. But if I were to ask one of the other the candidates who's a member of the church, if I asked a very pointed doctrinal question to them, do you think LGBTQ people can make it to heaven? Actively LGBTQ people? Well, that's not really that may be phrased as a yes or no question. That's not a yes or no answer. That's a complicated discussion that you have to have that's very sensitive. It's very complicated. I also think, if I'm going to be very upfront, do you think Mormons are Christian is also not a yes or no question. I will be the first to lead with this. We are most definitively followers of Christ. There is no doubt whatsoever. So I say that not to make the case. I say that because that's not even a negotiable point. But I will say also, if you're not part of the faith or not fully familiar with the faith, our faith is a restoration-based belief, not a reformation-based belief. And I know we're not going to get into an argument here, so I would say that to someone who's not of our faith, because it's a completely different paradigm, you might go, yeah, they're not a Christian because all the other Christians I know are part of either the Catholic Church or Reformist or Protestant Christians. Those are the Christians I'm comfortable with, familiar with. But because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints our belief, is in a restored faith, it's outside of their paradigm. That has nothing to do with whether or not we're Christians. So that, to them, I can see why Jeff Aldridge said, I don't know. But he said it like not as sort of malicious skepticism that we're Christian. He said it, from my vantage point, very innocently, like, well, I'm not part of their faith, so I don't really know. You could ask me, here's one quick example, and then I got to take a break because I'm way past time here. You could ask me, do the Hindus believe in multiple gods? I would say, I don't know, because I actually don't know. I should know, but I don't know. I can look it up really quick on Wikipedia, but I'm telling you I don't know because I don't know. I'm not saying I don't know because I'm skeptical. I'm telling you I don't know because I don't know. And I feel like it was not a malicious I don't know. It was a genuine I don't know if they are or not. So we'll break away. It's 8:31 now on News Talk 107.9. Back after this. All right, we're back. It's 8:34 now on News Talk 107.9 on a Monday morning. The program brought to you by Grand Peaks Prime Meats. Now, Julie, you eat a lot of meat. Would you say you eat a lot of meat?
I would say yes.
I probably eat more meat than I should. What can I say? Steak, ribs.
All I have to say behind all those words is yum.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Protein, we need protein. Protein's good for us. So Grand Peaks Prime Meats can help you out with that. If you go online, you can see all the different packages and specials that they have. And just choose what fits your family and what your needs are. And by the way, since it is almost, Christmas shopping season, this would make an amazing Christmas gift for your kids, the people that you really love in your life.
That's one of the really cool things about going through somebody like Grand Peaks Prime Meats. Not that you're just going to get better quality meat. I mean, that's a given.
Yeah.
But you might have a certain size family, like I have a small family, just two of us at home.
Yeah.
I don't need a huge roast if I'm going to make dinner. So I can call and say, hey, can you make me a smaller one? And they'll be like, yeah, you bet. We'll do a smaller cut beef for you. There we go.
Sure.
So take advantage of that. It's your own butcher.
Yeah.
And you're not paying all this extra money for it. It's a comparable price to the big box stores.
GPPrimemeats.com. Hop on, see what they have, order what you need, and they would be more than happy to help you. And when you stop in to pick it up, although they do delivery, so you can choose that option. For all orders over $75 more, it's free. But if it's less than that, it's a very modest charge. But if you stop in and pick up your nice big box of meat from Grand Peaks, tell them that we sent you.
There you go.
So, all right. And if you'd like to join us on the program, 208-542-1079. Neil Larson along with Julie Mason. Julie, I think you heard my monologue.
I did.
And I'm sure you were having thoughts during that.
Well, a lot of the thoughts that you have are similar to mine. I'm not being critical of anyone. You moderate the situation. I don't know how many inquiries they received.
Yeah.
So and you covered that really well. So I'll just leave it there with that. Here's the deal about the community. I've asked you listeners before, multiple times, to not fall victim to the DEI concepts.
Yeah.
I want the best pilot. I want the best surgeon. I want the people who are most qualified to be doing the job. I don't feel like the position of mayor is any different than that. I want someone who matches my values because it's politics and who is most qualified to do the job. I'm not making an endorsement for any mayoral candidate here. I'm asking the question, why does it matter if he believes what Mormons believe?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. If you're the person who's listening today and you're like, well, it matters to me. Well, then I feel like you're every bit as involved in DEI that I've repeatedly said I think is a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
We want the person most qualified, and you're never going to get a politician who matches you exactly. So if your religious affiliation is the thing you're working for to match you exactly, I can't really respect that.
No, I can't either. And Julie, we will not mention any names because we don't want to inflame any particular situation. But you've seen situations where people with particular church callings, they get an electoral lift from that. And to me, on one hand, it's human nature. Religion is a very binding force. If you truly share a faith with someone, you feel more comfortable with them. You probably have a better idea of maybe what their values are, whatever. So it makes sense. At the same time, I think sometimes you're overlooking good people that could provide very good leadership because your brain's been hijacked by that common connection of religion. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, I think if I were to go back, and I'll just be blatantly confessional here, I was in love with the idea of Mitt Romney being the president of the United States. A lot of that had to do with we shared a faith. I won't lie about that. Like I thought I knew what his values were and what he stood for and his leadership style and all of that. So there's sort of this instant comfort level that you have with people. But I think this deliberate elevation of it into a political campaign is very, very unfortunate. And I'm hopeful I'm hopeful it doesn't tip one way or the other.
That's what I want. I want people to really just have it be a non-issue at this point.
I think, in fact, if I view this in courtroom terms, this is where the judge hits his gavel and instructs the jury to ignore what they just heard. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like, This has nothing to do with anything about leading the city of Idaho Falls moving forward.
I hope that people who are making their decision are looking at all the important things. We have talked with the mayoral candidates a couple of times.
Yeah.
Mentioned to them, I'm surprised that high-density housing has been such a big deal to the residents of Idaho Falls, but it is. I hope that's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And that whatever you feel about that, you got the answer from the candidate that you vote for.
Yeah.
I hope those are the things you're looking at, because I don't think this determines a good leader of a city.
Yeah. I would agree. There may be other contexts where that question is appropriate, but in this one, I don't. So I got a text. I want to share this with you. I'm LDS, but go to a Christian-based church in Idaho Falls. I've heard their leaders proclaim on numerous occasions that we are not Christians. I've also heard most of my adult life we are a cult. I do find their teaching of biblical history very interesting. So I don't know quite what they're saying here. My mind is thinking through this because I want to go back to something you said. That may be fine. If there's a Christian church, I won't name one. I don't want to, again, I'm not here to start anything. But there is generic biblical Christian church. All right. And if you go there 3 Sundays out of the month, you might hear them rail on the Mormons and how they're not Christians or whatever. What if you found out your neurosurgeon went to that church? Would you say, I will not let him operate on my brain because he goes to a church where they've said some negative things about me? Would you? I wouldn't. I
want the best surgeon.
Is he a gifted surgeon? Yeah, that's what I want to go with. Mm-hmm. And so I look at that and I may not like that particular teaching, but at the same time, if they're the best to do the job, that's who I want to have them do the job because I'll go back to what I said before. They're not on the committee that decides if I'm a Christian or not. They're not. As much as they think they should be or would like to be, or their pastor thinks they are, they're not. Mm-hmm. And we have to continue and remind them of that. They're not part of the equation here in determining who's a Christian and who isn't.
Mm-hmm. Also, what goes on... Okay, I'm going to say this very delicately. What a pastor says does not always 100% align with the parishioners that are sitting in the congregation.
Yeah.
And I know that's a sticky subject for members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But I'm sure there have been times where as a member of the church, if you're somebody who is and you're listening, that you've sat in a meeting and you've gone, I don't know if I love that. You can still love the person. You can still have shared values in a worshiping sense.
Yeah.
And you can politely disagree with one another.
Yeah.
That's called maturity.
Yeah.
And so to assume that if somebody is sitting in a congregation and the pastor rails on the Mormons, to use their words, wouldn't that be false of me to believe that everybody in the room is thinking exactly what the pastor thinks?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's pretty presumptuous.
Yeah.
And I would hope we're more independent than that, really. I would hope that your religion is based upon your relationship with your Savior, if you're Christian, and not based upon who's standing at the pulpit. That's what I'd hope.
I would hope too. A few minutes ago, Julie, we had someone text in with the declarative, Mormons are a cult.
Mm-hmm.
I just texted them back. You want to know what I said? I said, fortunately, I don't need you to think otherwise to love you anyway. Take that.
Yeah. Go ahead and think it. You don't have to be part of it.
It's not.
No one's making you.
Well, yeah, you didn't change the nature of the universe by declaring it. So
yeah.
It's
your thing.
They can have that if they want to be that person that walks around and declares who's a cult and who's not a cult. They can be that person.
Right.
It has no bearing on me. It has no bearing on you or anybody else.
Right.
So
this feels like such a thing that didn't need to happen. And you know when you're a parent and you look at at choices your kids have made, like teenage years, and you're like, man, you could have saved yourself a lot of heartache if you hadn't made that one simple decision.
Yeah.
I feel like this is that case. Like, quite honestly, it's a question that shouldn't have been asked.
Yeah.
And it just didn't need to happen.
Yeah. It unfolded poorly, I think.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
8:45. Let's break. 208-542-1079. You can call. You can text. Has been very robust this morning. But you can call or text if you'd like. 208-542-1079. $8:50 now on News Talk 1079. Neil Larson along with Julie Mason. You were smiling, Julie.
That little bit of detective work that we were doing, I found a little nugget for you. So,
oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
We'll share that in a minute.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Shutdown, Julie, we have that. We also have, what else is there but the Shutdown?
Well, you had Mamdani and all of that happened yesterday. One of the very interesting things that happened with Mamdani's portion of the speech is that he talked about how horrible 9/11 was because his aunt could not ride the subway post 9/11 because she would wear her religious head scarf and she would feel taken advantage of. Well, this has been fact-checked by multiple sources.
Yeah.
Mamdani did not have an aunt that lived in New York City.
And the aunt he has does not wear a hijab.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did see somebody say, he'll easily explain this away because they believe everybody is an aunt. They call everybody an aunt.
Yeah.
I think it's just one more way that they lie about all the things that they do. I think if you're a Democrat, it's okay to lie. If you're Tim Walz, it's okay to lie about serving in the military. Yeah. There's just these little, if you're Kamala Harris, it's okay to lie about what rap artist you listened to when you were smoking weed in college.
Okay, can we just call this the hands up, don't shoot phenomenon?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you need something to be true, just state that it is, and it'll have the effect that you need.
Yes, I believe so.
But it's truth independent. It actually never happened. But you know what? It doesn't matter that it never happened. It's a discussion we need to have in so many areas. So let's just make it up.
Yes. And a weird thing that people would applaud too, right?
Yeah.
They did their best to destroy your city.
Oh, yeah. I know.
And, forget all the people who died in the towers. Forget the people who died in the plane in Pennsylvania. Forget the injuries from the plane in D.C. What matters is how your aunt felt on the subway 2 weeks or 3 weeks afterwards.
Yeah, here's the clip.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
Okay.
I guess that's the important thing. I don't know. I'm not sure. Speaking to the Muslims, was that him, I don't know if that was emotion was manufactured there.
Well, the facts were manufactured.
The facts were manufactured.
Why wouldn't we think they were?
I think it's a pretty safe concept to believe that the emotion was manufactured. And maybe that he thinks that he's going to get a massive Muslim push. Like that's going to be who's going to come out and vote for him. So I guess sacrificing that kind of a part of your value system, like chipping away at your honesty meter. All right. I don't know. Politicians do this all the time. They'll say things. I do believe Democrats are worse at it than Republicans. And the Democrats do it on the national stage and don't even care. Politicians in general will kind of inflate the truth when they're at a cocktail party or something like that.
Yeah.
This is so blatant.
Oh, it is? Yeah. Well, the Steele dossier.
Yes.
Is that, like if they need something to be true, they just assert that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's Scott Jennings' great response to this whole issue with Zohran Mamdani.
I want to speak to the memory of my aunt.
All right, they're playing the clip over.
Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
Today he has his press conference. I watched a big chunk of it. I didn't hear any words for the victims of 9/11. But he found the real victim, his aunt.
Is he?
The victims of 9/11 were in the Twin Towers. Those were the victims.
Is the implication here that he has to answer for the terrorists who attacked 9/11?
No, I think if you're going to run for mayor of New York City, or have any position in New York City, and you're going to talk about 9/11 or invoke 9/11, you darn sure better start with the people who died in the Twin Towers. That's what I think. And he didn't do that, and he kind of, he made it about his experience and his aunt and all this. My advice would be, if you're going to want to be the mayor of this town, and by the way, he's probably going to win, that moment in our history, you cannot lose sight of what happened. People died in those Twin Towers. They did not deserve to die. We did suffer a terrorist attack, and we can't really forget the moment, making it about him and his family. Okay, there were almost 3,000 people that died there. It's a big deal. It is.
Yeah, it's a good point by Scott Jennings.
I love how Scott Jennings can delicately navigate those situations. He did a great job there.
Yeah, he really did. All right, we got a break. We're up against the clock. We'll be back after this. All right, welcome back. It's 9:07 on News Talk 107.9. Neil Larson along with Julie Mason. And we are 1 week and 1 day away from the election. And usually, Julie, I am somewhere when it's an off-year election and we don't have legislative races or congressional races or a presidential race, my interest level in the election is somewhere between watching paint dry and listening to oatmeal.
It's not quite as fun as listening to Rice Krispies.
I know, it's not quite. However, this year is much, much different because we have these statewide races in places like Virginia. We have the New York City mayoral race. We have other races around the country that I think we're kind of watching like we'd watch a congressional race. We have local mayoral races that are simmering at a pretty good pace in both Pocatello and Idaho Falls. This is going to be one for off-year elections that I'm going to be paying attention to a greater degree.
Yeah, there is some interest in this one.
Yeah, so we have that. Now, can we talk for a minute about the No Kings protest?
Sure.
So I came across this morning. You will like this. This is Jonathan Alpert. He is a psychotherapist, and he analyzed the motivation of do you know what the most prevalent demographic group was at the No Kings protest?
It was liberal women above the age of 40.
Yeah, 40-something liberal women was the largest group. So he remotely kind of diagnosed them. Listen.
40-something women are probably the biggest demographic of consumers of mental health services, probably 20s to 40s. So they're quite fluent in learning how to express themselves, their emotions. So naturally, that would play out on the city streets during the No Kings protests. They're not shy about their hatred for Trump or concerns about the country. So that's part of what we're seeing play out. And the No Kings protests, from what I've seen in person and on TV, it seems to me like a big venting session and almost like a big group therapy. So people get stuff off their chest, they feel better in the moment, but it doesn't necessarily bring about any sort of positive change in their mind or in our society. In fact, it might be making them feel worse because they just have people that are validating how they feel. Therapy culture is fortunately a big part of the problem. We have therapists who are labeling people as traumatized, or he's a narcissist, or she's borderline. And this gets out into the ethos of our society, and people start to believe it. Well, of course he's a narcissist, or of course she's borderline, when in fact they're not. There are certain criteria that need to be met clinically for that person to be diagnosed as that.
Okay, your thoughts.
I think he's accurate. He's trying to thread a needle here without offending people, but helping us understand the psyche of these women, right? Why do you go to therapy?
Yeah.
Usually because you've had some crap
You're
happen
not
in
asking
life.
me personally, but yeah, you're asking the general you.
Yeah. Why do you go to therapy? Lots of times there's triggering events, crap that's happened in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. There is this concept out there that some therapists like to keep you in that crap because guess what? That keeps you coming to them.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm not labeling that as what therapy is. I think therapy is incredibly beneficial when used correctly.
Yeah.
Look, I have a son who's about to become a psych NP.
Yeah.
I appreciate the work that can be done here. I think he's identifying a subgroup of women who've done a lot of therapy, and it probably hasn't been that healing of therapy.
Yeah, because it would be, I want to be careful how I say this, because I'm very sensitive to mental health challenges, but I think the question is very valid. Is there a built-in disincentive to cure them because they'll stop What's the financial gain of that?
Sure. Like,
well, not cure, that's the wrong word, but
yeah, but to heal them or aid them in a healing process that they can do things without your help, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is not just in psychotherapy. I mean, we see this all over the place. I mean, it's a tale as old as time, right? The Bible.
Yeah.
They caused fights so that the lawyers had something to do.
Right.
And money to earn.
Yeah.
You see this in medicine. There's a lot of doctors who prescribe you something when you walk out the door. This is actually talked about in med school education.
Yeah.
That we live in an age when anyone can Google review you. And lots of people do not feel wonderful when you show up to say, hey, I don't feel very well. And you look at them and say, here's a diet plan. And here's an exercise plan, and I'd like us to work on this together. They take that as offensive. They give you a 3 out of 5 star review. But if you write them a prescription, you're a 5 out of 5 star review.
Yeah, that's true.
And so this isn't just in the psychotherapy realm. We see this I don't know if you want to call it a phenomenon, but a downstream effect happening in other industries.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think this person that you played the clip from is just trying to analyze a subset of people who've probably become addicted to that industry.
Yeah, right. And when you look at it, and a lot of things he said, especially in the first part of the clip, we may have used slightly different words, but we made the exact same point here. What did it accomplish? Like what was the call to action for the No Kings protest? That was what did you do? I mean,
you showed up
on a Saturday and you rah-rahed for a couple of hours.
Some people screamed, some people cheered, some people
used profanities, some people
wished death on others.
Some people didn't have clothes on, some people did. Some people had natural hair color, some didn't. You know, I mean, you could go on, but at the end of the day, after they all went home, was our political system changed in any way? And was it more likely to be changed in any way? Like, I think we've had two of these big No Kings protests. I don't feel like we're any closer to anything in particular than we were prior to them happening.
I don't think they're even any closer, meaning the attendees, at identifying why they're even there.
I would agree with that.
I mean, we're asking for a much further commitment with a call to action.
Yeah.
There's a portion of them that don't even know why they showed up other than I'm irritated.
Yeah.
And so I'm here.
Can we go back to the COVID for a minute? Remember how you had lots of politicians that there was all this fear and justifiably whatever. They were doing things just to do things. Like it wasn't actually helping to curtail the COVID. A lot of it was just optics. Mm-hmm. But there was no actual tangible benefit to helping us get out of the pandemic any sooner. But there was such a demand to do something that it was a bunch of, I would call it just treadmill stuff.
Wheel spinning.
You're not getting anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You're not making any progress. You're just expending energy that you feel like you need to expend, but you're coming away from it feeling like, I just walked 10 miles. Well, no, you didn't. We didn't get anywhere. Mm-hmm. You just did stuff. Mm-hmm. And I feel like No Kings is an intellectual treadmill. We're not getting anywhere with it. It's a political treadmill. They're not getting anything for it other than a couple of hours of a manufactured artificial purpose.
And exercising some sort of emotion.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a healing emotion. I don't think it's a beneficial emotion. You and I will even do this for each other. Like if we're feeling complainy on a day, we set a time limit on. Okay, dump it all out. We got 10 minutes. Blah, get it out. And then we move on.
We may have done that this morning.
Because being in that emotional place, you're not.
Yeah.
We're not accomplishing anything.
But on mornings like that, we do have IRS rules called filing an extension.
Can I push the pause button? Can we resume this on Thursday?
We need to push this out a little bit here. I need a little more time. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. I also find it fascinating, and this is one of the things that jumped out at me the very, very first, that the demographic that was most prevalent at the No Kings protest is also the demographic least likely to be voting for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
It's the other side of the coin.
Yeah, and it's not a demographic he's trying to win anymore.
Right.
I was worried he needed them to win.
He found other ways.
Yeah. And there's a reason he's operating as a politician on that level, and I'm not.
Yeah.
Because he went surrounded by smart people who were walking him through it, forget them. Let them go. We're going to go after we're going to find the young people. We're going to do this a different way.
You know, it is interesting because I think if you're a political campaign manager and it's very science driven, because I think a lot of politics can be a science. There's a cost of acquisition for someone's support. And among that demographic, the cost of acquisition is sky high. Mm-hmm. And I think Trump and his people looked at it and said, look, we're making great inroads among the Hispanic population, among the black community.
Young people?
Yep, young people were another capture that they made in terms of support. And I think you're right. I think that Trump was like, I have to pretend to be something I'm not in order to get the support of this demographic. Mm-hmm. And so he found ways to be authentically him, but with some extra effort, that cost of acquisition, keeping that low, he was able to compensate for the lack of support. And let's be real. Women have never voted for Republicans in big, large numbers.
No, it's a hard demographic to scoop up anyway.
Yes.
And then you combine it with an ultra strong alpha male.
Yeah.
Like Trump. That's not a match.
No, it's
that
not
would be
a
swipe left on Tinder in a heartbeat.
Right. That's true. That would be like you and I showing up to a vegan party, each carrying a big box of Grand Peak prime meats, saying, fire up the barbecue. We're having steak. Like,
I thought you made brisket.
That's probably, exactly. That's not a party we're going to show up to, right? Not. And meat or not, we're not going to show up to that party. So.
Yeah, but we can throw a party and say, hey, young people, do you want to come?
Yeah.
Hey, Hispanic people, do you want to come? Hey, black people, do you want to come?
There's steak there.
Yeah. And they show up.
All right, 920-208-542-1079. It's Monday. Is it still raining out there? It looks sunny, kind of.
It looks a little bit better.
All right, we'll be back. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm just going to go use it. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. My shirt says, this is very intentional, my shirt. So I have a party tonight. A bunch of young people up at BYU, Idaho. And I was called and asked if I would participate in lip syncing to Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. I reluctantly agree to do that. So later today, I will be putting on some 80s makeup and making my hair much larger than this. But I was like, okay, I'm going to go find a new band t-shirt. And I've got my, you guys see him? My leopard pants on. Oh, you can't see him because I'm so short. So there's my leopard pants. So, and I'll put on my super high black heels, my leopard pants. So my shirt is a band, and it's Sleep Token. It's a relatively new band, and it is my son's new favorite band. So I had been to like 6 stores looking for a band t-shirt I liked, and I was like, nah. And then I went into the sinful store of Spencer's in the mall, and at Spencer's, apparently Sleep Token is like huge, and they probably had 10, 12 shirts to choose from. So because my kid, Mason, loves Sleep Token, I bought this shirt, and then I'm going to make my hair huge and crazy makeup. I've got these like hot pink gloves that match this part of the shirt that I'll wear, and I'm going to lip sync to Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. So there we go. That's what I'm doing. And Sleep Token is my kid's new favorite band. So try him out if you like him. Keep in mind, his other favorite band is Breaking Benjamin. So that's the kind of music you're getting. A little bit of screamo, but Sleep token. And let's see, what else is going on? Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Stephanie. Oh, it's snowing in Sugar City? Ugh. Don't love that. We did hear that there was a big wreck on the Ashton Hill. Is that where it was?
Oh, yeah.
From that snow, Spencer.
Okay.
Deborah says Ashton is completely snowed in right now.
Oh, really?
And Ryan said it was great to see you at church yesterday.
Hey, Ryan. I forgot to ask Ryan his name. He came up because we were at my daughter's congregation. Anyway, it's always fun to meet listeners. So, hey, Ryan. Okay, 10 seconds. Here we go. We're back now. News Talk 1079. Neil Larson along with Julie Mason, who's laughing at me right now. So I'm checking. There was an incident in Island Park. Ashton Hill has seen some slowdowns. I did check the Google traffic flow. It looked like it was flowing, but they're right now on the 511 website, which is the state's. It says there's an incident. This incident may have recently been cleared. So it looks like it's maybe a few miles into Island Park, headed north. So
okay,
just be cautious anyway, because you may have some slowdowns and delays in that area. We don't know what the exact current status is, though. So
yeah, be careful. We're hearing from lots of people there's snow up that way. And I always feel weird telling people to be careful because that's just obvious. There's snow.
Yeah, right.
But there is this thing where you forget kind of how to drive a little bit. So
yeah,
quickly remember.
I feel like we need about 1 or 2 snowstorms for people to go, oh, yeah.
Oh, that's what I've got to do.
This happens every year. I totally forgot. Yeah, it's true. Are you ready for winter? I know you don't like it.
I don't like it, but it's okay. I'm here by choice, so.
Yeah, it's true. I think yesterday was kind of the first day that I really... I love fall, you know this.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday was the first day where I'm like, oh, winter's almost, something about the chill.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just feeling it. It feels like it.
Yeah, it is. Should we talk about football? BYU 8-0. They beat Iowa State.
It wasn't looking good in the first half.
Yeah, they were struggling a little bit.
They were struggling a little bit, but then it turned out real well for them. So 8-0. And then Boise State, they ended up winning.
Did they?
I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me. But I think they might have won. I was watching that game on Friday night.
Yeah, they won 24-3. Yeah.
Okay.
Friday night, 24-3, Nevada.
All right, give us the bad news. What happened?
Idaho State did not have a great showing against Northern Arizona. NAU, I think they were ranked around 20th or something, and we just stumbled and struggled with them. So
I'm sorry.
We did not come away with a homecoming victory Saturday.
Yeah.
But
crowd was good, though, you said.
Good size crowd. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a good crowd, but not a great outcome.
I'm sorry.
But, yeah, keep working at it, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, back to politics.
Broncos won. Denver Broncos. I watched that game yesterday.
Did they? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who'd they beat?
Oh, you're going to ask me. Who were they playing? I can't. Oh, Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dem Boys. They were playing Dem Boys. Why do I feel like I'm having to stifle what's coming out of my mouth next? The thing is, we have really loyal
Cowboys fans.
We love and care about, but I don't know why the instant you hear Dallas Cowboys, you just start laughing because of memes you've seen or whatever.
I don't know why right now I can't think of it, but who's the coach that wore the trench coat and the hat?
Tom Landry.
They showed footage of Tom Landry during that game, and I'm like, I started giggling going, they have to show that because they haven't really been that good since.
It's sad. I have to laugh at all the memes, though. Like, it shows these really old ladies, and they're saying, these are the Dallas cheerleaders back when they won their last Super Bowl.
Okay, we've talked about the Giants and how they have that kid from Utah, Jackson Dart, as the quarterback.
Yeah.
And the crazy running back, Scadaboo.
Yeah.
Did you see his injury?
No.
Oh, that ankle was not in the right direction.
Oh, no. Is he out for the season?
He's out for the season. Yeah. So Scadaboo's gone.
Okay. And I mean, he is so fun to watch.
Yeah.
That's really sad to hear. However, you kind of saw it coming because he just doesn't hold back. He completely puts it all out there.
Yeah. Which is why you like him so much.
Tries doing stuff he probably shouldn't try to do. And I wonder if the coaches have said, Cam,
you
need
pull back.
To rein it in a little bit because we don't want you injured and out for the rest of the season. And here we are. So
I also saw, back to BYU, that there's a trend happening in Utah. Little boys will wear a tiger costume.
Yeah.
Or a bear costume.
Oh.
And then they'll put the BYU football jersey over the top for Bear Bachmeier's number 47. And I don't know what Tiger's number is. But yeah. So going to be a popular Halloween costume in Utah this year.
I got to say, I'm just not into NFL. It's just not mid-January yet. So
I'll keep you updated. You're okay.
You can keep me posted. So back to Cam Scadaboo. I don't know if I said this on air or not. I realized he played at Sac State.
I think we might have talked about that last week.
Yeah, for like a year or two, 4 or 5 years ago, and ended up transferring to a much bigger school, Arizona, I believe, right? Didn't he go to Arizona?
Sure, I don't remember.
Anyway, but I knew the name was familiar. Like when I heard Scadaboo, and I'm like, oh yeah, probably
don't hear that in a lot.
Said his name before, watched him play even, but yeah. All right.
So there's your football update on a Monday.
Okay, and have we talked at all about food? Other
Not
than
yet.
Grand Peaks Prime Meats,
but that was
yeah.
I made super yummy baked potato soup with cheese and broccoli in it.
I had potato soup yesterday too.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. With
very fall
bacon bits, cheese, and green onions on top. It's very good.
Yeah,
and buttery biscuits.
I didn't do biscuits, but later on I did make pie crust cookies.
Oh, you did? Okay, gotcha. All right. Everyone wanted us to have that report. I know, I can tell.
Do you think? I wonder if Neal and Julie are tired of talking about the government shutdown.
No, the government shutdown, politics, elections. Sometimes our cup just gets full, doesn't it? Like it just stays. Bleh.
Well, I think that mine with the government shutdown, my frustration is the fact that the only solution for everybody is for the Republicans to bend.
Yeah.
Why is that the only solution?
I agree.
When we're going to sit here and dissect, I was quoting statistics to you. What did I say? 43 million people.
Yeah.
In America are on SNAP benefits. 1 in 8 people in America have their food paid for.
Wow.
I think that's a lot.
I do too.
And then when you start dissecting that half of those seem to be people who are immigrants into the country, then you're like, and that's not enough for you, Democrats? You want more? You want health care for immigrants too? You want these social services programs to extend to immigrants too? People who haven't paid into the tax system near as long as other generational families. And it just starts to feel real ugly, especially if it's only the Republicans that are supposed to move on this.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's indicated very well with Scott Bessent's interview with Kirsten Walker. Yeah, here, listen to her tone. She asks the question in a reasonable tone at first. Bessent begins to reply to her, and then she cannot control her emotions. She just loses it.
Now in the second longest shutdown in U.S. history, when will President Trump meet with Democrats to try to bring this shutdown to a close and get federal workers their paychecks back again, Mr. Secretary?
Look, Chris, I'm going to have to reject the premise of your question. Why does President Trump have to meet with Democrats? Democrats just need to go into the Senate and vote to end the shutdown.
But President Trump has said in the past it's up to the president. He's the president.
No.
He said that in the past. He said you have to be a leader.
Okay.
The president has to lead.
Kristen.
He just turned her down.
Well, I did, because anyway. Chuck Schumer also said we need to just vote for clean CRs.
Yeah, she's only giving half the story.
Yeah, she is only giving half the story, and she's placing the entire burden on reopening the government on Donald Trump. And quite frankly, he's sitting there with a pen ready to sign it. Mm-hmm. And it is the Congress's job to get bills passed and get money appropriations. That's their most important thing that they do. You could almost boil it down. You have one job, and they're not doing their job.
And can we remind everyone, Representative Clark last week said that this is the one negotiable thing they have is the pain of the American public.
Yeah.
She said the quiet part out loud. She said your pain is what they're negotiating with.
Yeah, it is. They are leveraging the pain of the American people. And then when you play her words back, she says, you're lying. Mm-hmm. They're your words.
You were the one in the interview. Sorry if you said something you're uncomfortable with.
Yeah. What day was that we played that? Do you remember?
Oh, geez. Was it Wednesday?
I think it's worth playing again. What's her name?
It might have been Wednesday. Representative Clark. I can't remember her first name.
Okay. Let me see. I think it might be. Hold on 1 second here, because I could not believe that she was saying. No, that's Corinne Jean-Pierre, Jen Psaki, Carolyn Levitt. No, I don't have it.
I can't remember what day. It might not have been Wednesday.
Yeah, but it was Clark.
Yeah, Representative Clark.
Yeah. Catherine Clark. Here we go. Let's play it.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt just posted a clip of an interview that you did on Fox last week. You were answering a question from Fox's Chad Pergram about blame for the shutdown. I want to look at the post here.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
Leavitt is looking especially at that last bit you said there, saying that Democrats, quote, are now admitting that they are intentionally causing American families to suffer with their reckless government shutdown. What's your response to that?
Well, that is right out of her playbook of half-truths, taking things out of context, and not being straight with the American people. And she knows what I said.
We all heard what you said.
The interviewer just played it.
There's something additional that is irritating me about this, because whoever it was, do you remember, was this CNN?
Oh my goodness, that was so long ago. I don't remember.
Yes. It's funny. We're in a phase where a week is way too long.
There's too much news cycle. There's no way I can pull that out.
So she plays the clip of Catherine Clark, and instead of her saying, are you leveraging the pain of the American people, she's hiding behind a Carolyn Levitt post. Mm-hmm. Like, well, Carolyn, she doesn't want to ask a fellow Democrat a really hard question, but she knows she has a journalistic duty. So she pulls in Carolyn Levitt's post and then asks a really anemic, what do you think of that? How do you want to respond to that? Mm-hmm. When if you're a journalist, what you need to be asking is a very direct question. You said the pain of the American people is your window of leverage here. Are you leveraging the pain of the American people like you said in this clip? That's what should be happening, not pull in Carolyn Levitt so she can make Carolyn Levitt the bad person.
Exactly. I think that's a great point. Thinking back now, I think it's MSNBC.
Okay.
But I think that she is like circumventing the actual question. She's going around it to soften it. The actual question is, do you believe the American people are leverage?
Yeah.
That's the question.
It's a very good question. So, okay. Jake Tapper. Can we play Jake Tapper?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Here it is.
As you acknowledged, this all started because of redistricting in Texas, and this was Trump pushing Republican-controlled states to throw out their current congressional maps so as to cook the books, so that it is less likely for Democrats to retake control of the House during the next year midterms. I mean, is it fair to argue that do you believe that the Republican Party is starting this?
No, Jake. There has been gerrymandering going on for 200 years. There is such extreme gerrymandering going on that in a state like Massachusetts, that has like 40% of the people voting for Trump, they have 0 representatives. The Republican Party has 0 representatives sent to the House. Think about that. In New Mexico, if 45% of the people voted for Trump and voted Republican, and 0 is sent to the House. 0.
And there are multiple examples of these states that have a good size. It's not like 10 or 20%. It's 35, 40, 45%. They have no representation in Congress because the Democrats have successfully gerrymandered those districts. So it's such a naive question on the part of Jake Tapper to say, are Republicans starting this? No, it's been a blight on American politics for a long time.
The actual question here, and Jake is not going to be honest about it, but the actual question here is, what took so long for Republicans to recognize that Democrats were doing this?
Yeah.
And then start using it as a tool in their toolbox.
Yeah, that's true. Don't act stupid.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to, are Republicans trying to use this as a tool now? Yes, they are. And they're not hiding it. They're saying they are.
Yeah.
And they're saying it like Arnold Schwarzenegger says there, is that no, it's been used against us, and the only way to battle that is battle back with the same tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like, don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna fight exactly the way the other people are fighting, and we've waited entirely too long to do that.
Yeah. Can I be a twerp? Because I'd love to hear what our listeners, how they would respond. You could argue, I don't know the exact figures, but you could argue that Idaho consistently votes 25 to 30, maybe in some elections a little higher than 30% for the Democrat. Most Democrats get to 30% in a statewide race, right? Mm-hmm. By this argument, should Idaho have one of its 4 congressional delegation a Democrat?
Okay, I don't know what they're going to say. I actually have a response for you.
Yeah.
I think that there are enough people dissatisfied on the Republican side with our current leadership in Washington, and I can think of one of the 4 specifically, that if the Democrats would put forward a really viable candidate that wasn't crazy, I think that candidate would have a shot.
Well, we've had that before. I mean, you've had Stallings and LaRocco, and you've had a number of Democrats that have won, and, you know, they can win. They don't usually, but they can. Yeah. So, yeah. Also, I think the premise of my question is flawed. I think you could apply this to the House of Representatives easier than you can the U.S. Senate. Both U.S. Senate seats in every state, the entire population of those states, they don't have a district. Their state is their district. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be a very, very, very long time before a non-Republican wins a U.S. Senate seat in Idaho. So put that off the table. But you could look at a state like Idaho. If we ever get to a point where we have 4 congressional seats, the Democrats probably have a pretty good argument to say, ideally, we should have one of those congressional seats because a fourth of the state are Democrats. Mm-hmm. So
possibly.
Yeah. Now, that's me making the argument for them. In the end, would I go out and campaign to get one of the 4 a Democrat? Heavens no.
No.
I mean, that's ridiculous. And you have to look at how they, you carve up the district. And if Democrats are smart, then they'll work really hard to get one of those districts where a Democrat has a fighting chance. So, all right, let's go to the phones. 208-542-1079. And caller, welcome to the show.
And a beautiful day it is.
Yeah. Yes. What's up?
Hey, so let me change the conversation here a little bit. I saw a little news clip from Rachel Maddow, and she was talking about the New York Times had released some numbers on what it was going to cost for the insurance increases if the Democrats signed the bill. And it was interesting to me because she was saying there was like, for a married couple with no kids, just a couple, it was going to go up like $24,000 a year. And she was mentioning several different states and that those increases in each state. And I don't know if you've seen that clip or not, but it just was shocking to me at the end of the clip because I'm seeing it from the other side of the coin going, holy crap, as citizens, we are paying that much money to supplement every couple's insurance? Well, that's absolutely out of control.
Yeah.
How are you trying to even make an argument there for this to continue? I just don't understand it. You take a small group of 10 couples, that's $240,000. That's $250,000 that we're supplementing, just so that they can have insurance that they don't use because they can't afford the what's it called when you have to pay out of pocket first?
Oh, deductible,
The deductible. You can't reach the deductible, so people don't go and use the health insurance anyway. So why are we allowing the insurance companies so much of a chokehold on our country? If it's us privately or if it's the government doing it, I don't understand how that is.
Well,
and maybe I thought maybe you could enlighten me a little bit on what your viewpoint is there.
Well, my viewpoint, let's go back while you were talking. It reminded me a little bit of passing Medicaid in Idaho, where it was like going to fix all these problems. It was the bee's knees. Like, it's going to come along and it's going to lower everybody's rates and
save rural hospitals.
And we're going to fill the gap and we're going to do all this. And those of us who even had a little inkling of how human nature works, we said, this isn't going to work because you're going to have people, if they are close to that line of being in the gap, they will ask their employer to make less money or they will work fewer hours. So it tips them down into that. And you're going to have a lot more people then lining up to get Medicaid in Idaho than what the legislature passed to fill the gap. That is precisely what happened. They had more people come in. They promised that this was going to do away with the need for indigent funds in hospitals across the state. They found out that didn't happen at all. It didn't remedy that problem at all. All we saw was healthcare prices going up because the hospitals had an extra source of revenue so they could raise their prices. They could, and so it just made everything worse. And now it is one of the biggest challenges that the legislature has, figuring out a way to pay for Medicaid simply because of the way human nature works. That was a microcosm of what's happened with Obamacare. It's laughable that they called it the Affordable Care Act. And then here we are a few years later, and the government shutdown. One of the big negotiating points is making sure we don't see couples having to pay $24,000 more per year in health insurance premiums. What in the world is affordable about that?
There is nothing affordable about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just shocking to me how they can make it. I mean, you listen to Maddow when she's making that point. She sure makes it sound like the Republicans are the bad people, and she doesn't bring in that fact that Obamacare was a failure.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm tired of calling it Obamacare. Let's call it what they named it, the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
And now let's not blame it on Obama. You voted this in. What is it? It's not affordable.
Well, and they've now had 15 years to do something different. And they're the ones leaving it in place with the expectation that Republicans will always be afraid of these high premiums and the political implications, so they'll continue to prop it up and mask how terrible a policy it is.
So tell me this, if it doesn't pass, if we continue without passing this, what's that going to do to the insurance companies? I mean, I'm not on the exchange.
Yeah.
I purchase my own, and it's ridiculously expensive as it is. What's that going to do to my premiums? Is that going to cause them to go up phenomenally?
I would imagine, yes, it will have to. That even aside from this government shutdown and aside from the Congress sending these subsidies, insurance premiums everywhere are spinning out of control. So I, like you, I'm on the employer plan here, and I'm hoping they can figure something out before, I think it's April is when we will see the rate adjustments happen. So I've got a few months, but I'm hoping we don't see a mass increase. But I am bracing that we are going to see something, some of it go up. So, yep.
Oh, the future's scary. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Real quick, I'll say this in under 20 seconds. If you think that Neal is lying, I had an employee come directly to me. She deserved a raise. She was doing amazing. I lobbied with the owners of the company, got her a raise, and she came to me in tears and said, I don't want the raise. Because she was going to lose her reduced fee daycare for her kids. She said, I would rather decrease my hours by a few hours each week and do my side hustle that I ask people to pay me cash for.
Yeah. So we actually have government programs that backfire. We reduce the productivity of people and their prosperity and increase dependency. 9:50, we're going to take our final break. We'll come back and take a call after this on News Talk 107.9. Okay. Where did you see the Putin story?
On it. Let's see what I get. This says no, there is no credible evidence to report that either of Vladimir Putin's known daughters, Maria and Katerina, have overdosed. I don't know. Don't know what that's about. It's Jack Posobiec is the one who retweeted it. And said R.I.P.
Sometimes he's a little sketch, right? Isn't he the one that's
I think everybody on X is a little sketch.
They're too quick to
too
post
eager.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay, how annoying was the Gavin Newsom thing?
Oh,
we haven't
super.
even talked about that.
I know. I did not get that edited, and he cusses in both of them. So, yeah, super. This is the same as Kamala listening to Snoop Dogg. He's trying to get credibility. Yeah.
You're a spoiled white rich kid.
I know. Don't.
There is an interesting text that came in.
Yeah.
Oh, a whole bunch have come in since then. All right. We need better restaurants to get better physicians in Idaho. If not that religion, they won't come. Idaho Falls has nothing to offer. So this is based upon the question by Nate Eaton. And he's saying we don't have doctors because they already don't want to come because they're not Mormon. And then there's no reason for them to come. It says doctors go out to eat with families. They don't hike. They don't camp because of their jobs. So we don't offer that to them. There's no indoor golf. There's no Cheesecake Factory, no Trader Joe's. Judges would rather keep kids with abusers than take them away because they need families, even though it's not the best place for the child. I know this firsthand.
Okay. Hold on. All right, we're back 9:54 now. News Talk 107.9, Neil Larson along with Julie Mason. And let's jump back to the phones. Caller, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thanks for taking my call. I'm doing great.
What's up?
I'll quickly get into this. People need to realize that the medical industry does not want to cure you. It just wants to manage you, because if they cure you, you're not a comeback customer, okay? That's why cars are self-destructing at 5 and 8 years, because they want you to come buy a new car and stuff like that. As long as we have these government, and I would say even private insurance policies or food programs or whatever, prices are going to escalate because the consumer is not paying the price. The insurance is. And yeah, you're paying $9,000 for a year's worth of insurance or 15 or whatever it is. That's not the true cost. You're sharing the cost with a bunch of other people, and the insurance or the medical hospital, doctor, whatever, can just charge whatever they want. If people didn't go to the doctor because they couldn't afford the insurance, doctors, dentists, whatever, would lower their prices. The same in the grocery store. If people are going in there and buying a dozen eggs instead of 2 dozen eggs and 2 gallons of milk instead of 4 because they can't afford it, prices will drop. Government subsidies, being food stamps, insurance, whatever, artificially inflate and corrupt the free market. That's all there is to it. College, same way. If you don't pay the full cost of college, the college can charge whatever it wants because government will pick up the balance.
Yeah.
We need to get back to a true free market system.
All right. You know what? I 100% agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I disconnected the call before anything else came up. But I 100% agreed with him on this, that anytime either a third party is paying or it's financed dollars, then you're going to pay more for it. So,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about windows for just a moment.
Okay.
Advanced Window Products can help you fix those or replace those leaking air windows, discolored, warping. Maybe you see condensation between your window panes. They can help you determine if it's time to replace your old windows. And they can do it because they actually build the windows, they install them, and they guarantee them for life.
So let's reflect back to the call. And he was talking about how, electronics now are made to break. So you just buy the new one.
Yeah.
Cars. We joke about phones that once an update comes out, the phone disqualifies itself and you have to go pay another $1,200 for a phone, for a smartphone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not how these windows work. It's a lifetime guarantee. This is a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come out and replace if you've got a broken window, if a seal doesn't happen, whatever. They're there for you. They're there for you.
They are. And even if it's what I call knucklehead breakage, somebody hits a golf ball through your window, they replace it. If your kid throws a football through the window, they'll replace that. It doesn't need to be a problem with the window. It can be a problem with your kid, obviously. So, that's where Advanced Windows. I'm not insulting people's kids. I'm just saying.
Look, my kids had problems.
Yeah, mine did too. Big savings though when you purchase 10 or more windows, and they'll prorate it if you need fewer than that. So give Advanced Windows Products a call today.
208-852-8685. Again, that's 208-852-8685. Process is super easy. Give them a call.
And yes, they do have financing if you need help to get started that way. So, all right, everyone, that is going to do it for the show today. And tomorrow's Tuesday, Julie.
Tomorrow is Tuesday. I'm trying to think. We don't have any interviews scheduled for tomorrow.
Okay.
We will give updates on Trump's trip to Asia. He's had some great success already. This is a week-long trip, so there are plans for him to meet with the president of China and possibly Kim Jong-un.
Okay. We'll obviously keep an eye on all of that. Have a wonderful Monday. Be safe, especially if you're traveling into higher elevations where there may be snow and slick roads. And we'll all meet back here tomorrow. Clay and Buck are up next.